Good afternoon, podcast listeners everywhere. Welcome to After the Bell, a Stunt Brothers production. I'm Martin Stubel.
And I'm Roy Hunt, and we share your pain, having taught a combined 70 years.
70 years?
I know, wow. So get out your marking, organize your supplies, or just pour yourself a coffee.
I think I need something stronger.
That's okay. And listen, engage, and interact with After the Bell, a podcast for you, the hardworking, dedicated teacher who wants free lesson plans, free advice, and a free meal.
Oh, I always show up for a free meal. Occam's razor, my friend. Occam's razor. You ever heard me say that before?
Oh, yes. I've heard you say, how do you like them apples a lot, too. Yes, you have some special ones.
I do.
Special sayings.
We were having technical problems here, right? We were not hearing the sound through the headphones.
Right.
And it turned out I had the USB plugged into the power part of the device that keeps us all connected and happy and ready to do a podcast.
So what does Occam's razor mean?
Well, it means the simplest answer is usually the reason why. You know, it's like when those tech guys get a call from someone and say their laptop's not working, right? You know, it's not working and they're expecting some complicated answer and they go, well, did you turn it on? Right?
Did you unplug it?
Yeah, right.
And plug it back in?
You know, so
is it plugged in?
Occam's razor. And you know what? It actually goes back to a 14th century friar.
Oh.
William of Occam. William of Occam. William of Occam is a hero of mine, right? And Carl Sagan, who I mentioned, that's who first got me onto Occam's razor in a book I read of his. And usually the simplest explanation. Humans tend to go for the complicated,
right?
But usually something simple like, was it even plugged in? So how do you like them apples?
It sounds like we had a complicated explanation on Occam's razor.
We did. Well, here we are, my friend. We're at episode 61. Everyone's back from spring break.
Yes.
And episode 61.
And that would be 61, so that it would be season 2?
Yes, season 2.
Episode 31.
That's correct.
There you go.
There you go.
How do you like them apples?
I love those apples, and I hope everybody loved their apples of spring break, and they're back into it, and they're realizing spring is here. The clocks have gone forward.
Yes.
That's another one of mine,
yes.
right? You've jumped ahead daylight savings time, so you've got that extra hour in the evening, and it's going to stay with you.
Ah.
Right?
Well, I noticed as I walk through places, the places that have analog clocks haven't changed the time.
No.
I'm looking up here in our booth here, and I'm seeing it still says it's 12:56.
Yeah, and we know it's 1:56.
And
but that's going to be a thing of the past.
Yes, it will.
And I would imagine everybody's happy about it because people have been talking about this for 7 years, and they complain every year. Oh, they're going forward this time, but we have to turn them back in the fall.
Yeah. No one told me about this.
And now here it is.
7 years ago, it was started as a discussion.
And now you got it.
And what was it? 93% of the people voted for it?
They did, but they don't seem happy now.
But they're not happy.
We found some comments.
Well,
we did a little TikTok video, right? We asked for people to make comments, and they did.
And they did. It's
kind of like our FSAs. We'll get into that in another episode sometime. But this one certainly got some traction out there.
Yes.
Interesting what gets traction. So,
I know.
Yeah.
No one told me about this. You have to be constant reminders.
It's a lack of understanding of science. It's going to be dark in the morning, you non-scientific people out there.
There you go. All right. So here's the first comment is, I'm super happy we're staying on daylight savings. I've always hated the sun setting at 16:30. So depressing. With an extra hour in the evening, I can walk my dog after work. Coming home in the dark after work is horrible. I also love the long evenings in the summer and would hate to lose that.
Yeah, they are nice.
Yes.
I think that's why people don't want the standard time.
And that's from Sean.
Boundless Boreal, who follows us on TikTok, she said, we don't ever get the time back. And yes, I am all over this. I have now jumped 1 hour closer to my 60th birthday, which is coming in April.
Yeah.
I was expecting to get that back in the fall. Now I'm 1 hour closer.
And you have an extra gray hair.
Yeah. Am I going to have that extra hour at the end of my life?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I hope
Maybe.
so. I'm about to go.
Let's turn. Oh, I'm going to turn the clock back. I'll be there.
Can you be there?
I'll be there. I'll turn the clock back an hour for you.
I got another hour for you, Martin. Okay. You're a good friend.
Okay. When sunrise happens at 9 a.m. in the lower mainland on the 49th parallel, and no one else in the neighborhood is on the same time as you, you will regret it. Let's move to Edmonton. Big Bro Davenport.
Big Bro Davenport. Wow. Well, Safety Bob said, I think with this change, schools should consider an hour late start for the safety of children. That might not be such a bad idea to start school an hour later.
That opens up a can of worms.
Yeah, that's not going to go over either.
That's not going to go over. Yes.
I can hear it now.
Oh my gosh.
What else? What do we got here?
I agree with getting rid of changing the clocks, but it should have been to standard time. Standard time is more aligned with human algorithms and Kardashian patterns.
Circadian?
Oh.
I don't know about the Kardashians patterns.
Kardashian patterns.
Yeah, I don't know.
There is a pattern out there.
I can't
I don't
figure those
know.
out. I do not want to know. But it's true, that morning light, I know that's going to be a thing. But you wanted it, people. You got it.
You asked for it.
And Mary, she said, finally, my car clock and other electronics will forever be correct. And it's true. And in fact, when I picked you up for today's podcast so that we would get here not at 12:10 at the right time, I realized, I've got to change that clock. I don't want Roy to think I don't keep up with the changing time. So there you go.
And from Sarah, we have, so for those of us in the Peace, I guess that's the
Peace Valley.
Peace Valley?
River Valley. The Peace River Valley. Sounds like a song to me. Yeah.
It means we will always be on Vancouver time instead of Vancouver time in the summer and Alberta time in the winter.
There you go. Wow.
I never thought of it that deeply.
No, I never thought I had to. So may this forever be put to bed, but I know it won't be.
In another 10 years, they'll bring it back and say, we need to change it. Kids are complaining about walking in the dark.
They will.
Yes.
You heard it here first, folks.
But they don't walk in the dark. They don't even walk.
That's the thing.
They're complaining about being driven to school in the dark.
And they're all got their devices to light their faces up anyway. Wow. What are they saying? So are you getting up early enough? Because you're probably TLCing, right?
I am
now
still.
You got that. It's a little darker in the morning for you again.
Yeah.
So did that mess with your Kardashian rhythm there?
No, not, and it didn't mess with my circadian rhythm
Okay,
either.
good.
Yes.
So you're back in the class,
Back in
working
the classroom,
hard?
and getting lots of work, more work than I want. And so
that's always good.
There's sometimes when I just say I'm busy.
Yeah.
But it's strange to. I'll get called early in the morning sometimes because something will happen and maybe someone can't make it in. So I've had sort of an emergency call half an hour before school starts. And I did have one where I was called to the school and they were having an assembly.
The old school assembly.
And so
it's not your class.
Not my class. So, it's one thing, I like to go in and I have to claim my space and make connections with the students. And I know that, depending on the age group, this is a grade 5-6 group. So, you really have to sell it.
You gotta, lay down some rules too, I guess, right?
But then it's an assembly. And then I go, oh my gosh, I had a flashback about all those things I had to do to prep my class when it was my class for an assembly. And that was I think the average person just thinks you just say, okay, let's go. And you go.
And they sit there like little angels,
and
right?
They sit,
of course
they
do.
And
no work entailed.
No. First of all, you just talk to them, okay, we're going to an assembly. This assembly is about, and if you know what the assembly is, and you
read the email,
or
desperately
you know what it
looking
is?
up.
It's not necessarily that it's someone looked at a schedule and said, "Oh my gosh, there's a group coming in today,"
right?
And said it's like push that panic button, wah, 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 and said, "We have an assembly," and it's like, okay.
And often it is an announcement like that too. It's like in the middle of math, everyone, time to come down to the assembly, and then the class go.
So then because I'm in this classroom preparing for an assembly as a TTOC, but then having this this stress come from remembering my past experiences where I would look at my students and I would say, okay,
PTSD.
These are the expectations, my expectations. Da da da.
So you did this with the class,
and I did this with the class. But instead of coming off too strong, I said, okay, so what are the expectations that your teacher and that the school has for your behavior?
We don't have any.
Nothing. So can you like
we chew gum and wear our hats.
Is it okay to wear hats?
Bring our toys.
Yeah. And said, I noticed some of you are chewing gum. Is that okay? Yeah. Right. And but I remember. Short of calling in someone to do pat downs on my students, I remember just saying, okay, I want you to stand in line with someone that you know that you can sit beside it in the auditorium and be quiet. They choose their best friend. And then I look and see what they have in their hand, right? And I have confiscated, right,
all
rulers,
of course,
erasers.
Anything can be a toy.
Handmade airplanes, paper airplanes,
fidget toys.
And I can remember a student in line ready to go with a pair of scissors in their hand.
Yeah.
And
I had a student with some slime. They were bringing slime with them, right? They had slime. So you did all this with your class, this TOC
with
class.
This
yeah.
class.
You kind of went over all the expectations.
All the expectations.
Thinking back what you had to do for your own class when it was yours. So I guess it went really well then in the assembly. I guess it was just perfect.
No, it didn't. And so the sound was horrible. The students were, because the regular teacher wasn't there, and they're moving around and squirming and waving to friends, and those students who become easily dysregulated.
It's the place.
Became a couple students rolling around on the floor, and then trying to just get everybody to be quiet.
All the other teachers are looking at you.
The teachers are looking at me that I should control the class that I've never been in before, and then there's always the teachers that they take on the guard stance.
They do.
There's no emotion in the face.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't show fear.
It's Stalag 19.
And look left and right and just look left and right. Scan the crowd, right? Point at someone, and they know you're pointing at them, but they don't look in your direction because they dare not look, because then you give them the wave.
I see nothing.
You give them the wave to come to you, and then they put their hands up and they go, me? Who? And then they point at the person beside them. It's not me, right? But they mouth it.
You're trying to have this conversation in the middle of the assembly,
right?
Yes. So I think we've got our theme. I think we've got our episode 61 theme.
Assemblies.
I think we got to talk about assemblies.
Yes.
I think it's a good one. I think it's a fun one. Let's get on and talk more after the nugget.
Okay.
There's that sound.
Yes,
lovely nugget sound.
I haven't heard that for a while.
No. We've had all these guests.
That is the sound of the nugget.
Yes.
Nugget is a takeaway, something that you can use in a classroom, something that can help you in just looking at improving your teaching, or something that can...
Something that the Stunt Brothers say, hey, this might help you. And we're talking about assemblies, right? So we won't get to any nugget right away. We'll just kind of feel it out. We're trying to get to some of the fun stuff with assemblies, some of the things that I think if you think about, can make you appreciate them. And why do we even have assemblies?
Right.
Right?
Right. And then the big thing is it's where students and staff come together to hear the message all together. So it's a common platform that everyone is listening to the same message.
Yeah. And
it usually reflects the goals of the school, something that they want to have done, or it could be an environmental message.
And I think back to COVID times where we didn't have them for a couple of years. And some of those kids, first of all, some of the kids, I guess, in grade 1 and 2, probably was grade 3 before they even had a school-wide assembly.
Yeah.
But sometimes it was nice. It was like, oh, good, I just get to be in my class and worry about that and not have to suddenly remember there's an assembly. But you lost that school spirit, right? That idea of having this setting where you're there as an entire school, and you don't often get that anymore. You know, so I think we missed that during those times.
Yes, and I know that during those dark times,
the dark COVID days,
we tried to make up for it by going through Teams, is what our district used, as some people use Zoom platforms.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same.
And even having guest speakers who would come
having
on,
guest
right?
speakers that you would connect with them, and then
I can see you, can't hear you, right?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see
Right.
you, and all of those things. And it's interesting because there are times in a large assembly in the gym. There are all kinds of technical issues that pop up, which we will talk about.
Yes.
And it seems that when we were using technology, that those problems became amplified.
They did, right? Yeah.
They were 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And almost impossible to solve. I know for a fact that there were at least, I'm going to say, 2 guest speakers that I had lined up on Teams for my class that after about 5 minutes of trying, we both decided just to cancel.
Yeah. You know, I'd almost rather, have a kid in an assembly, it's happened before, who throws up, and you got to deal with that in person in the assembly, than deal with some of the technical problems when you have a guest speaker, right? Occam's razor, my friend. Occam's razor.
Oh, my gosh. No. Are you kidding?
Have you never had that happen? Have you had a student?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I have. And what happens is that, first of all, it's in fact, it was during an assembly where a student came up to the teacher and said, "Oh, I'm feeling sick," and then the teacher, realizing that something should happen soon, got up, and the student just threw up on their feet.
Oh.
Right, that's one. Okay, so that's one thing. So that would be simple if it was just that one student and the one teacher. But
triggers things.
And when you have a gymnasium of, I don't know, on average 500 students or more, when at Ridgeway,
easily,
Ridgeway we had 700 students, and that does not include the staff and the support staff.
Right.
So
It's pretty packed in there.
750, and the smell. I'm not going to go into much more detail other than
Usually
that.
it says so. The fire marshal's thing on the door usually says there should be no more than 300 in this gym. And somehow, I don't know how we get that
did that.
Yeah,
but
anyway.
the idea is just with that student throwing up and then the other students around obviously reacting to that right away.
Yeah.
Students needing to leave because they felt sick from what they saw.
Yeah.
So
I know.
No,
But
I would rather have a technical
there you
problem
go.
with the computer.
See what I'm talking about? Oh. You can have that any day, but I'd rather be there in person than that technical issue. But the other issue, I mean, when you say that, it reminds me of, there's always that student that wants to go to the washroom, right? And you determine that you think, no, you do your best, right? But you think they're not clearly looking like they're going to pee their pants or something, right? Tragic, right? So you want to be sensitive to that. So you say no, you do your best because it's only 10 more minutes, and you think because the moment you let that one go, you've got
the floodgates
really open, literally, right? And often I've said no, and then suddenly another class starts letting them go one after another, and then before you know it, the whole school's going.
Yes, and then it's always that fine line. I mean, the student that just wants to leave.
Yeah.
Because if it's your class, those things. The predictable patterns of engagement or disengagement or regulation or dysregulation. That.
No, for
right?
sure.
Because, I have always felt that if it was a good time where it wasn't in the middle of presentation because they weren't walking in front of the presenter or anything like that, I never want to stop someone from going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get a letter saying
no. That's the dilemma with that.
Right.
That one, right?
But you also know this. So it's a tough one.
Yeah. There can be this mass exit going on, right?
And you
feel for the person who's presenting in that situation. So one of the challenges. I know one of the highlights for a lot of students. I don't know if other schools do this, but in elementary, in BC, our grade 7s are part of elementary, so they're the final year unless they're in the middle school. But we have mainly K to 7 schools, and so often the grade 7s would get to be on the benches.
Yes,
right. The rite of passage there. That
to leave a hard wood floor for a hard wood bench.
That first assembly in September, when the new grade 7s who are just grade 6s get to sit on those benches. It's probably the best behaved they are in that first one because they've arrived. Yes. They have arrived.
Right. And it's like they're on a throne and they're looking down at all the other students.
Yeah.
And they have their piece of wood and they're looking at the others. Oh, our piece of wood is much better than yours.
But by June, they've been on that throne all year. They take advantage of that. They've become quite different creatures.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But assemblies, fantastic. Way to go. And to me, I think they're an important part of school life, right? Mm-hmm. They really are. And I think we've saw what it was like when we didn't have them. There are challenges, and we're going to later on in the episode talk about some of those challenges, some funny stories, some things that have happened to us. But to me, the nugget of all this is, even though you hear that announcement from your principal and you remember, I forgot about the assembly, and you kind of have a little panic attack. Mm-hmm. Usually it's this wonderful chance to be together. And I think we are a village. And I think when else do you get that chance?
It's building that community. It's reminding you that you're part of something larger than your class.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the topics are connected to school-wide theme.
Yeah, yes.
I know we've had some amazing farewell assemblies for teachers who were in service for for many, many years and then retired from the school.
Right.
And just for all the students to show their appreciation and the care that they have toward that teacher.
And where else do you get that? And I think where else will children learn to deal with those situations, right? When they're suddenly in an event, right, that is a public event, they've never had a school assembly to kind of practice those things, right?
Yes.
They're at a loss as a human being, I think. So that's why it's important. Yeah. And sometimes I think of they're kind of like assemblies when we've had performances, right? School performances, maybe the Christmas play. And I see some of the parents who I think maybe they didn't have any assemblies when they were young because they don't model it either, right?
Yes.
They got their cell phones out. They're leaving to go to the bathroom, right? Have you ever had this too when, say, many classes are doing some Christmas event and the kindergarten class is finished and suddenly, 5 of the parents who were in that kindergarten class just walk out. They don't watch the rest of the production.
Right. I just saw my child perform. I'm done.
So I think it kind of goes back to everything I learned in kindergarten, I kind of learned about life, right? And I think some of those didn't get that chance. So that's why I do think we're lesser for it when we don't have these opportunities to meet as a whole school. And that's kind of what we're saying our nugget is we know they're a challenge. It's good to have a laugh about things that maybe don't always go right. But at the end of the day, I think we should celebrate those moments. And I would not want to live, especially in our online world where we don't connect anymore, I wouldn't want to live in a school that didn't have school-wide assemblies.
What's that sound?
What's that sound? And there's the sound of the homework board.
You sound pretty enthusiastic for something you don't like.
It's been a long time, though. So I like it again, right?
You like the homework again.
We've had guest after guest after guest, so it's kind of nice to have a little
willing
homework.
To do some homework.
I am. I've had an easy ride.
Yes, you have.
Okay.
Well, I'm hoping this homework will be fun.
Yeah.
For our listeners, and the question for our homework.
So yes, because we know you comment when it hits a nerve, like the clock's going back or the FSAs. Suddenly we get lots of comments.
So maybe this will be
this will hit a nerve
chock-a-block comments is what we're looking for.
Yeah, and because even listeners, if you aren't a teacher, you were in a classroom at one time, so you probably have memories of assemblies, right?
So I would like to know. We would like to know.
Yes.
What is the most unforgettable assembly moment you've ever witnessed?
Yeah, and that could be the best assembly ever, the worst assembly ever.
Funniest assembly fail?
Yeah. It could be things that went right, things that went wrong, right? Just moments that might give a chuckle we could learn from so we don't repeat those and we can avoid your mistakes, right? It's always good to learn from others.
So, That's your homework.
Yeah.
How easy is that?
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one.
That's a fun one. That's an
fun one.
Wow. And, I think it's in everybody's memory. You don't have to plug it into AI to get your answer.
Nope.
I think you can get this one on your own. So
I hope.
share. And where can they share? There's many places.
Wow.
We have our website.
We have the website.
We'll have it up in the homework board, stuntbrothers.ca. We have our Facebook group,
page,
right?
Facebook group.
It's After the Bell Stunt Brothers, right? You can join that, and we have the link on our Facebook group for all our areas of social media, right? Mm-hmm. We also have a link on our stuntbrothers.ca page for our social media. So if you look for stuntbrothers.ca, that usually is a hub where you can find a place to make a comment, to tell us what you think. And this time, the homework is to tell us what you think about assemblies and give us your stories, right? Tell us what's the most unforgettable assembly moment you've witnessed. Ah, the lovely detention hall sound. I think we got some assembly killers we're going to put into the detention hall, right?
I think detention hall assembly killers would be really good. These are the things that just make your assembly stop.
So what do you got?
It loses the energy, it loses the impact.
It does.
So the first one, the end of the assembly.
You think it's over.
And the guest speaker says, "Are there any questions?"
Usually it's like noon too.
Right? Everybody wants to get out to go get ready to go for lunch. And
oh no.
Are there any questions? And no one's been prepped.
No.
No students have been asked beforehand to ask a question. And then all these hands.
You didn't get to select the students you
shoot
wanted.
Up.
Yeah.
They're usually, and the kindergartens are in the front. And they go for the closest student. And the guest speaker says, "Yes, what's your question?" And the student goes, "Do you have any brothers?" And the guest speaker goes, "Pardon? I can't hear you. I'm sorry." "Do you have any brothers?" And then the person beside that student said, "Do you have any brothers?"
And then they answer it.
And the answer is no.
And then, are you married?
Are you married? Do you have a dog?
Yeah.
Right? And this is a person who's climbed Mount Everest.
Exactly, right?
Someone who has made this amazing contribution or has pulled off an amazing feat.
Not what were you thinking when you were at the top of the Himalayas looking out towards Nepal. What were you thinking? It's like, do you have a sister?
Do you have a sister? Do you have a dog?
How old are you?
Yeah, how old are you?
Oh, so
okay,
definitely an assembly killer.
That's a killer.
Sometimes when you do have these guest speakers, and it's the never-ending guest speaker, right? And they said, 15 minutes, that's all I need, right? And 45 minutes, you're looking at the clock, and the kids are looking at each other, and they're still going on.
And again, and those students who are doing their best to be regulated, they start laying on their back and start rolling around.
Challenge some of the teachers are doing that too.
Number 3, the microphone that hates everyone.
Squealing.
It's the squealing, feedback.
Oh,
microphones that have batteries in them, but no one checks to see if the battery is fresh and works for about 30 seconds and then goes dead.
And then the poor student presenter they have up there says 3 words before the mic cuts out, and teacher's thinking, we just tested this 5 minutes ago, but maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But that is just a killer for
That's
an
assembly killer. That's right.
And then how about this one? I think we all know this one. I call it the sit-down shuffle, right? You get to that school gym, 500 kids have to fit in that gym. You bring your class down, and there's that sign where your class is supposed to sit, Division 4, and there's no room.
All of the division signs are put out there, and it's like the teacher before you just said, sit where you want.
That's right.
and then you have to do this Tetris game where you say like
Tetris game.
Shuffle back, and they look at you, right? Shuffle back, move back, move back, move back, and then they stop, and they say, now you have to move shuffle to the left. It's a dance.
And then
shuffle to the
your
left.
class is now intermixed with the other division, and you can't tell where everybody is. And then now they're totally right up to where the band was going to play, right? There's some kid sitting with the bass drum.
Number 5.
Number 5.
The video that refuses to play. Right? You have and I know, I've seen our administrators and I've seen teachers who are doing presentations and presenters. They get everything organized. They're toggling between two things. We have the slideshow and then we're going to show a video. And then the Wi-Fi slows down or kicks out. And then there's this awkward silence. You've lost all your momentum. And then the grade 5 student from the back row sees what's going on, gets up, walks over, and fixes it.
Oh, please check your stuff before you start.
Yes.
Oh, my. Okay, and the last one, number 6. I think we've all had that assembly that's in June, and often it's the farewell assembly, which are often beautiful moments where the grade 7s go off, but it's the hottest day of the year.
Hottest day of the year.
In the hottest room in the school.
Right.
With 600 bodies that are already heating
packed
up.
like sardines. You have the doors open.
Boy.
The heat's not escaping. Actually, the heat's coming into the gym.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, teachers are fainting, right?
Those
those are assembly killers. But that's the reason why we've looked at these assembly killers, and I think the Stunt Brothers have what we call the top 10 Stunt Brothers tips for better school-wide assemblies, right? So what's one of our tips?
I'll start with number 10.
Number 10.
Start with a hook. If the first 5 minutes are boring, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you've lost that gym.
Start with something unexpected, music, funny story, quick video, something to connect with your crowd.
Yeah, challenge your crowd, right?
Yes.
They'll be doing fine, but you got to think of those. Okay, number 9, keep it short. I think that's just,
Yes.
Number 1, keep it short, right? Assembly should feel like a highlight reel, right? Not a director's cut, right? Where you feel, okay, Mr. Stubel wanted all this in here, but really, did he have to include, his slide to Europe last year and his trip to Europe last year? Okay, keep it short.
Great. Number 8, give students a role.
Yeah,
I really
good,
like this.
yeah.
Students are far more engaging when they're involved. Let them speak. Let them host. Let them run the tech.
Yeah.
And introduce the speakers and lead some activities. But to do that,
yes, a caveat, yes.
You have to front-end load them. You have to give them the opportunities to practice the role before you throw them into it.
I have been in assemblies where I felt that on the way down to the assembly, 2 students were chosen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, please practice it. Number 7, use the power of story, right?
Good story. Yep.
People remember stories far more than speeches. A personal story, a student success story, or a funny school moment really sticks with everyone in that assembly. Okay. So, yes.
Number 6, have one clear message, right? The best assemblies focus on one big idea or one big takeaway. If you try to cover too many, students remember none.
Yeah, adults remember none, right?
Teachers remember none.
Exactly. Number 5, break up the talking. Don't make it one of these assemblies where there's one talking head after another and we're all just falling asleep, right? Mix things up. Get some music in there. Short videos. Make sure you've prepared your videos before. You got some student helpers that know what they're doing. Audience participation where you can, but also, again, a plan for that. Quick demonstrations, but you put on a show. To me, it is a show, right? You got to think about that show, so you got to do some planning and make it engaging. So there you go. Okay. Number 5.
Number 4, make the gym feel smaller.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting because in my teaching career at Ridgeway, the gym always felt smaller because we had 700 plus students
packed in there, and you wish it was bigger, right?
But there were times when we had presentations that were primary classes first, and then after that there were intermediate classes, and then the gym did seem big.
Yeah.
And having the audience at one end of the gym and the presenters at the other end of the gym didn't really work, and the acoustics in a
that's the
gym are horrible.
The worst place, right, for sound,
So
of course.
Get that audience up close to where the presentation is happening so that it feels like a more personal, close
I agree,
space.
yeah. Number 3 is respect the teacher's time. And we've all talked about in this podcast, we recognize the importance of assemblies. We think they're a culturally important place to meet and to learn skills, to be in a group. But you also have to respect teachers' time, right? They should know exactly how long it's going to be. There should always be a heads up, not an announcement half hour before, right? Or even the Monday of that week.
Scheduled in advance.
Make sure it's scheduled in advance. I know some teachers don't read the emails that explained it, right? But still, you can put that on them. But make sure it's part of a staff meeting. There's certainly information that goes out to teachers well ahead of time.
Yes. Number 2, end with energy.
Yes.
Don't let the assembly fizzle out. Finish with something memorable, a challenge to the students, a celebration, a great moment for applause. Send everyone back to the classroom energized.
Just don't end with questions, right? No questions. And then number 1, which is really back to our nugget again, is make it about school community. The best assemblies remind students that they're part of something bigger than their classrooms. Celebrate achievements, kindness, teamwork, and school pride. And it can be that for any kind of presentation, but I think it's just that celebration that we are Ridgeway, we are Cove Cliff, we are, Roy Hunt Secondary, whatever the school may be. Celebrate that and celebrate being part of this place that's bigger than yourself.
Yes.
So that's our detentional. And this time we came up with kind of a response to the detentional.
There you go.
So we don't just create problems. We don't just put people in the detentional. We educate them to become better citizens.
Solvers.
We are.
And now it's time for the rearview mirror.
There we go.
Right? And I know we use the rearview mirror so we look in the back to see where we've come from.
Right.
So it helps us to understand where we're going forward.
That's what we always say.
That's what we always
Very
say.
poetic.
But in this case, we're going to have the rearview mirror for stories from assemblies that have gone wrong.
Yeah. So we've thought of our own past. We've also talked to other teachers. And we've curated some of the best stories we could find out there in the World Wide Web. And all names have been left off to protect the innocent on these stories.
Yes. So what do we got?
Well, the first one is we've got this one elementary assembly where the principal handed every student a glow stick, asked them to be responsible. What does that mean?
Yes.
When the lights were turned off, chaos, of course, broke out. Students started throwing glow sticks everywhere.
Yes.
Oh.
I have pie-throwing chaos.
Okay.
How about that? We had an assembly fundraiser where students whose names were drawn got to throw a pie in the principal's face. What could go wrong? The students on the floor could not see what was happening at the front of the gym. Everyone stood up. By the end of the assembly, the staff had escalated things, and more than the principal got pied. The yearbook photos were legendary.
That reminds me of the dunk tank we used to have when I was at one school. And I think you did the dunk tank at your school as well. And man, the lineup when I was sitting there in that dunk tank, I think there was an announcement made. Mr. Stewell's in the dunk tank, right? And remember that one principal we had, Bryn Roberts.
Who wore a suit.
He wears his whole suit in the dunk tank. And again, long lineup. So the dunk tank, that was always a great fundraiser.
And chaotic, yes.
So this just made me howl when I read about this one. This is the How Many Fingers kid. At a presentation about a guide dog, a visually impaired speaker explained how her service dog helps her navigate the world. In the middle of the talk, one student kept asking out loud, "How many fingers am I holding up?" A teacher moved over and sat with the student to get them to stop.
During a wildlife presentation assembly, a small animal escaped its handler and ran across the gym floor. Hundreds of kids started shouting directions at once while the teachers tried to catch it.
I think that was a real thing at one time, bringing in wildlife.
Yes.
Even like TV shows on, Merv Griffin's show, he'd bring in
That's
some
it.
raptor
Snakes
or something,
and things,
right?
and then everybody's like, salmonella and all
and
kinds
then
of
at the end.
Yes.
It was like
pet.
There's a few things that do come back though. Like I remember in the 50s, the yo-yo craze, right?
Okay.
And then somehow about 2005 or 6, I guess it came back, and so our school principal brought in this yo-yo expert, right? To come and do all these yo-yo tricks and everything, and had the kids dancing around to crazy music. But it's one of these things where you kind of wonder what was the purpose of this, because after at lunchtime, he had a table all set up for people to buy his yo-yos, right? And I guess the parents had knew this was because the kids brought money to get those. So it was a bit of a marketing exercise, and I didn't stomach it so well, seeing that misuse of the public funds to sell your yo-yos. Kindergarten wave. Have you ever experienced this?
Oh, yes.
Right? During one assembly.
So cute.
The youngest students were often at the front, and they often are the kindergarten kids. One of the kindergarten kids starts waving at his buddy class at the back of the gym, right? Oh, there's George. Hey, George. Within seconds, the entire kindergarten class started waving, turning the assembly into a giant greeting session. And I've seen that even during performances when someone's watching their older brother on stage and they're waving like mad, and the older brother he wants to do his role, but he starts to wave back, and talking about floodgates opening up, right? Yeah.
Yes. And the last one I have is the wait time.
Okay.
Right? Trying to find a way to get everyone's attention.
Without yelling.
Right? We've had principals who would go like this. They go like, shh.
Oh, don't do that. Why do they do that?
To the entire
Why are they doing
700
that?
plus student population.
Don't do that.
It's like air being let out of a tire.
Yeah.
Anyways, this principal tried the classic strategy of standing silently at the front of the gym until everything went quiet.
There you go.
Yeah. But it did work, but it took about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know at our school, our principal would stand at the front of the room and raise their hand.
Yeah.
And then the other students would follow. And then the idea would be everyone would follow like that.
Common practice, right?
Common practice.
Yeah.
But I noticed that when there were times during the assembly when it got loud, the younger students would put their hand up. At first I thought they had questions.
They were just programmed
but they're
to do
putting
that.
their hands up because they wanted to be quiet.
Right, yeah. So there you have it, listeners. Our episode 61 on assemblies. And I know someone is going to be happy because this episode is going to be under 45 minutes long.
Yes.
Robin, if you're listening, he says he loves listening to the podcast, but he stopped listening when we started to get over an hour because we've had guests on. And obviously they have a lot to say.
Home.
Exactly. He likes to listen to it in his car, and it just would always work perfectly. So we've created this. There we go. We'll dedicate this to Robin.
There
right?
we go.
We've made an episode that's 45 minutes. Just long enough for you to get in your car after your hard day at work and listen to this, and then it'll be done when you get home.
You know you've started something here.
Yeah.
We're going to start finally getting comments. Could you make a podcast 20 minutes?
Yeah. There's going to be
me? And so we'll be making podcast segments based on the amount of time it takes you to get home.
We're going to have like 100 different versions, right? Here's the 90-minute version. I just like the 2-minute version. Oh. I'm glad we're done. It's a great episode. I'm glad everyone had a good spring break, and I hope everyone does well getting through this week. And as always, we wish you and tell you to stay healthy, happy, and fit, and do the best you can to get through every day.
And I know you have at least one assembly coming up before the end of the school year.
Yeah, we know. We know you do. So take our tips, and hopefully you'll have a good time at that one. This podcast is organic, taking shape with each episode. Building resiliency for teachers everywhere.
That sounds great.
And our website is stuntbrothers.ca.
That's stuntbrothers.ca.
We will chat again.
After the bell.